Y'all come on in. We got us a good old midnight snack. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit and discuss a little bit. We got us some LeBlue water. Y'all, I just went up to the grocery store because I couldn't take it no more. I have to have some watermelon. It's been a long day. I'm waiting for y'all to come on in. I'm waiting. Let's see if we'll... Monet, let me ask you a question. You feel like it? You don't look like you feel like it, girl. The question is, Adam and Eve had 2 sons. 3 sons. Cain, Abel, and Seth. Right? So Adam and Eve were the 2 people that God put in the Garden of Eden. The idea that they were the first people on the planet. And then, she got pregnant and had 3 boys. But they had 3 wives. Who did they marry?
Right, because where would they come from?
I'm asking you.
Are they their daughters?
Is that your answer?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not into the Bible, but my thing is, that's a good question. Where they come from?
I'm asking you.
So that's what they say in the Bible? That they had 3 wives? Well, they had to come from Adam and Eve. They just, why didn't tell when they had them?
That's immoral.
So where did they come from then?
I'm asking you.
See, that's why it don't be making sense. I don't know, bro.
Y'all come on in. Let's discuss.
That's a good question. I never even thought of that.
So good. Hello, Fatima. How you doing, girl? Girl, we went up to Publix, but they closed at 9. So we went over to Lowe's Food to get the watermelon and the water. We're gonna have a little discussion tonight. Hopefully y'all come on in here for this discussion. Y'all was just talking about going to Publix. What's up, Bozo? Bozo, how you doing? It's not a meal, it's just some fruit. It was so good. Hey, Daisy, how you doing? Monet just put a pizza in the oven. It's too late for me to eat any carbs. Okay. I'm doing good. I'm gonna go get that system tomorrow, that box.
Oh, yeah. Definitely sure, because I need to do my content.
Hey, Junior Graham, how you doing? You sitting at your brother's apartment. Okay, so let's get into the topic tonight. So, I need y'all to participate in the conversation, okay? All right, so I'm asking y'all a question, right? So Adam and Eve, as Genesis says that Adam and Eve had 3 sons, Cain, Abel, and Seth. And they married 3 women. Where did those women come from? There we go. I had to calm that light down, honey, because it was too bright. Junior Graham, where did Adam and Eve's wives, Seth, Cain, and Abel, Greg Davis, you play too much, stop playing. Junior Graham, you say you have no idea. Give me some, beautiful. What's up, Rico King? What did Adam and Eve's sons, Cain and Abel and Seth, where did their wives come from? Where do y'all think they came from? Were they, and it's not like I have the answers. We're going to figure this out together. Were they their sisters? Junior Graham says, if Adam and Eve was the first people, then everybody is kin. Okay. Well, I see a problem. Feed me my turn, beautiful. What's up, Anthony? Slowpoke, I'm doing good. I have a problem with that. All right? Because if God can create all the plants, all the vegetation, all the animals, and name them, have Adam to name them, then why wouldn't he prepare wives for the sons? Why would they have to possibly be with their sisters? That's incest, right? That's against the moral code. That's not right. So I don't think that's the answer. I don't think they were siblings. So it's recorded also in the book of Genesis, bump that where did Cain and Abel find wives? Okay. All right, so do y'all remember Sheraboo? I'm going to send you an email tomorrow. Okay, Ariel. So do y'all remember when Cain unalived Abel? Y'all remember? And the book of Genesis said that Cain was jealous of Abel, so he unalived his brother Abel. He passed away because Cain made sure he passed away, right? So then he had to leave where his mother and father, he had to leave Adam and Eve. So the story goes on to say that when Cain went to wherever he went over there somewhere, he married a woman from over there. So now we got 2 different stories. There's an extension of the first story. First story is Adam and Eve were the first people made. They were in the Garden of Eden. They were the first of their kind. Then they have children. But then later on, Cain gets banished from where Adam and Eve and all of them are. And then he travels a little ways. And then he meets his wife. What's up, Nina Mavachu? So obviously, if Cain travels and meets his wife over there, then there were other people over there. Where did they come from? Latoya Woods saying Adam was Hebrew. That would mean Adam and Eve wasn't the first. Could there have been another kingdom somewhere? All right. So, yes. So the book of Genesis does not say anything about those things. You see what I'm saying? So when we're dealing with biblical literature, there are a lot of things that are left out. So we have to fill in the blanks. So Adam and Eve could have been the first people that were in the garden, but not the first people that were on the earth. They could have been the first of their kind because they were exclusively in a place that God had prepared for them. But if Cain gets banished from where his parents are and he goes over into another land, and then over there he meets his wife and he marries her. Do you see what I'm saying? Now we fill in the blanks because we're adults and we got good sense, but the writer didn't clarify that. They said Adam and Eve were the first on earth. Here I go again, misspeaking. I don't know what it is about nighttime and going live. It did say that, Nina. Adam and Eve give Gen Z. It does say they were the first people. So if they were the first people, then Nina, they were not the only people. I guarantee there were people before them. Yeah, of course. I was just waiting for one of y'all to say it. I was waiting for one of their wives were from the east side, right? What's up, Carabella? I was just waiting for one of y'all to say that story cannot be taken literal, because if you take it literal, you're not, do you see what I'm saying? You can't do that. So what is the story really about? What's the story really about? Is it really about Adam and Eve being the first two people, the man saying, the scripture saying that God needed a helpmeet, and then he put Adam to sleep and took the ribs out and made the woman, and now God gave Adam dominion over the land and over Eve? Was it really about that? No. So let's go back. They tell us what they want us to know. So if we back it up from the beginning, Adam and Eve are unaware of evil, right? They're unaware. So there's a tree in the garden of the knowledge of good and evil. None of us were born at that time. We will never know the truth. Yeah, but we're thinking this is brain stimulation. Those stories sounds like fairy tales. It sounds kind of metaphorical. Yes, but the problem is, Junior Graham, we have people in real life who take it literal. And they cannot, because it doesn't make sense. So if it doesn't make sense, then you can't take it literal, and we have to take that off the table. It has to come off the tables. My ancestors were microbacteria. Excuse me, y'all. Graham, that's exactly what it is, a fairy tale. So Eve talks to the snake. So what we found out in this first 7 minutes is that there were more people than Adam and Eve. Okay? Period. And number 2, now Eve is talking to a snake. She's literally having conversation with an animal. And he's letting her know that, listen, girl, let me tell you something. You don't want to mess with that tree right there, because if you, well, actually go ahead and eat from it. And then you're going to be like me. You're going to know good, both good and evil, if you eat from that tree. But the story goes on to say that when she did, she had Adam then to come and eat from the tree, and then they both knew that they were naked. So what does that mean? Why would their nudity be a part of the, hey, Asher. Greg Davis. Greg said, I love y'all so much. Greg said, who taught the snake to talk? Because the last time we checked, snakes don't talk, right? Snakes don't talk. Is that a metaphor? Okay, the tree of the knowledge of both good and evil. The snake says, eat off of that tree. So I've thought about it for years because everybody say, listen, it's Eve's fault that we're going through what we're going through because she should have never ate that apple. That's what they say. Even people that are 40, 50, 60 years old, they all say that. I mean, I just really think it's very like, please don't say that. But so Asher said, I love this channel. Thank you, Asher. So she eats off the tree of the knowledge of both good and evil. And the snake is saying, listen, if you eat it, you're going to be like me. Because, you know, I know both. It's not Eve's fault. It's their fault for believing that lie. The snake talks like DMX, for real, for real. That's funny. That's really funny. So my thing is this. I'm thinking like, what's wrong with the knowledge of good and evil? What's wrong with that? Because if they don't know, then they're going to be not naive and they're just not going to, they won't know what to look out for. They won't know when danger is there. Do you see what I'm saying? How could you not know? That's like not knowing the difference between right and wrong, good and evil, right and wrong. So LaToya said, Cain killed Abel and he was jealous also. His mother wanted Cain to be the heir and he stole Abel's birthright. Yep, those are the particulars of the story. My focus was Cain was banished and he went into another land where he met and married a woman. Where did she come from? Where did she come from, LaToya? That's the question. Ignorance is bliss, right? Where did that lady come from? And is it okay to not know where she comes from when Genesis tells us plain as day that Adam and Eve were the firstborn of mankind and they had 2 sons? They went on to have another son, Seth, but so where did she come from? Oh, she came from Jerusalem. No, where did she come?
Like any other people, everybody always leaving out the other parts of the story. We need the full story, people. Who wrote that story?
Right. Those are wonderful questions. Who wrote the story?
So you sure that they said that they people married, but yeah, they had to marry somebody to have the kids because I did hear about them having families. So that's
right.
But where did they people come from? Where they come from?
Because Cain was banished because he unalived his brother in the field for jealousy. Story says that Abel was a fantastic, good-hearted person, and Cain lured him in the field and unalived him. And then, so God told him he had to leave.
Well, if God could just put Adam and Eve here, maybe he put the 2 wives here too. They just didn't tell that part.
He just made 2 other women and put them over there.
Yeah.
And nobody else. They didn't have parents. Because
Adam and Eve didn't have parents, did he?
Well, Cain and Abel and Seth did, which were Adam and Eve.
Right, but Adam and Eve didn't have parents.
No, but they had parents. The children did.
Maybe
it had been a lot of time. So you feel like since he banished banished him,
either God magically put 2 females here, or it was incest. Period.
How about this? The writer
left out.
Didn't cover his behind. Whoever wrote the story didn't realize that people were going to say, where did those women come from? Where did those other people come from? Asher Pemberton 2 says we evolved from monkeys. So are you saying that the story of Adam?
I thought of that too. Was it so they say of humankind? So was the 2 wives were they monkeys? I don't know.
But I mean, the scripture doesn't say that Adam was a monkey. It says that he was a man.
Yeah, he was a man, but what was the wives monkeys? Because you said of mankind was Adam and Eve.
So Seth went into another part of the world and traveled and married a monkey and had children. You have the story wrong. What part of the story do I have wrong, Daniel?
We about to sound like Medea when Medea was trying to.
They had pink bottoms. Greg, you crazy. Actually, humans and monkeys have a common ancestor. We didn't evolve from them directly. Cain married his sister, and no, we didn't evolve from monkeys. Okay, so Slowpoke, we don't marry brothers and sisters. Are you saying that God didn't have an ethical code in those days? I did not get my teeth bleached. That's this light. No, we evolved from a common ape. Well, so then you guys are denying the story of Adam and Eve. If we came from apes, then Genesis is wrong, right? It's the light, y'all. I kind of got the blue light on right now. And the ring light. But I have been using a different toothpaste, and it's really nice. My teeth feel really clean all day. I'm not evolved yet. So do we take it literal? Are we from monkeys? Is Genesis 1, 2, and 3, is it just wrong? You guys don't believe it at all? My father told me that we evolved from monkeys. The mystery of this story is enigmatic. I stay wondering about the topic. The story of Adam and Eve is about the first person who stopped being hunters and gatherers and settled down and started to farm. Okay, but hey, Day, what's up? Adam and Eve had many daughters, and marrying siblings was okay in that time. No, it wasn't okay. Because if I got left from therapy, it was amazing. I just left therapy. It was amazing. Good, Trinaya. You are attractive. Thank you. No, I'm not gonna go with that, Day, because this is the thing. If God takes the time to make the 7 days and creates the planets and the galaxies and the earth, separates the land from the water, creates the moon and all of the things that we see now, then he could have made a moral code too. Because you guys say God doesn't change. That's what you always say, right? So we can't go with that it was okay to marry sisters and brothers. If the story of Adam and Eve is true, humanity grew by all family members sleeping with each other. No other answer. Then the Bible then God is immoral. If that is true, then I've got to say, because God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore, that he was immoral then. He himself is immoral. Actually, back then, people did marry their siblings. I think you could marry your second or third cousin back in older days. Thank you. You see what I'm saying? But we're not talking about what humans did. We're talking about we're talking about what God says is okay and what's not. Okay, but while you're thinking about this, why are you trying to... I don't know what that last word means. The Bible is nothing more than a collection of stories of older people. Okay, we're just conversating. So my take on it is this. If the only thing we can come up with is that Adam and Eve married sisters, Seth and Abel married their sisters, that's not going to work for me. Then I have to say that God himself is immoral. Because if he can give instructions on all the instructions that we saw in the book of Genesis, if Adam was able to name all the different animals, and there's a tree there of the knowledge of good and evil, well, it's not okay to marry siblings. So I have to make that a part of it too. People live to be 1,000 years old. Then I don't believe that, Greg Davis. I don't believe that at all. Ancient knowledge has been hidden from us. I don't know about that. Mm. Oh my God. Have you read the Bible? God is horrible in that book. Yes, he is. What is Asher? Thank you, Daniel.
I'll go take some rest. And can you bring me back a plate of pizza? Because I can't touch it.
We're having a conversation. Why you worrying about where we're going? We're just having a conversation like we did last night. This is the topic. We're just starting somewhere. And while we're starting, I want to know what y'all think. 10,000 years from now, people will look at our superhero comics and think them as a religious text. Wow. Oh yeah, people lived to be about 300 plus back then. The idea that siblings marry each other and have children. Adam, it was supposed to be Eve was created from Adam's rib. Oh, you wasn't here the last time. So we're talking. No, they didn't. People didn't live that long, just common sense. Yeah, I don't believe that they did either. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, okay, so, no. Adam and Eve's sons did not marry their sisters. That's wrong. But you know what? In fact, life expectancy was much shorter than the Bible says so. Greg, listen to what I'm telling you. If it's not okay now, then it wouldn't have been okay then. That's what I'm telling you. So over time, people have changed that story, and they've made excuses for why it's okay now. But it wouldn't have been okay from day one. It's morally wrong. Eve wasn't even the first woman in the Bible. In chapter 1, he created man and woman together. Then in chapter 2, he made women from Adam's rib. Which one is it? That's not, I ain't never seen it like that, baby. I always seen it that, God made Adam, then he put Adam into a deep sleep and created Eve. Maybe not a sister, but possibly a first cousin. Well, where would the cousin come from? So we're talking about a man and a woman, the first man, the first woman, and their children that they had. Where would a cousin come from? That's the initial topic. That's how we started this conversation. It is obvious other people inhabit the earth. Right. That's what I think. D-Train. You would get arrested for sleeping with family. Yes, nowadays, yes. So D-Train, that's where I am with it. The writer tells a story of a place called the Garden of Eden, right? And he starts the story off by in the beginning, which technically is a beginning, but not the beginning. Do you see what I'm saying? It is a beginning of a story that is being told, but it is not the origin of our beginning. No, it's not. Do you see? So the writer is not able to do a 360 at all. And that's why we're having a conversation. Well, it is a beginning, but it's not the beginning.
I think that the Bible is more for the I do believe that I'm happy that they wrote a story
Mm-hmm.
from their perspective, because every generation it's the same stuff, different generations. You get what I'm saying? So if you're gonna take anything from the Bible, you might want to take some life lessons, almost like talking to an elder. But however, do it in your way. You get what I'm saying? So you can't take it 100% literal.
Yes.
Because if I talk to an elder, I'm only gonna take the parts that I feel like I'm gonna listen, but I'm gonna do it my way ultimately. But at the same time, I'm gonna listen because maybe what I heard from this person could help me.
Adam and Eve had more kids after Cain and Abel. Yeah, but that doesn't deal with, there's a morality here. I'm asking you guys. You guys are saying to me that they married their sisters. I'm saying no, they did not. And if they did, then God himself is immoral. That's what I'm saying. But I'm not going to blame it on God. There's no way I would do that. But I am going to blame it on the writer, the person who's telling the story. I'm going to blame it on that person. Like I said, they are not the first people who are the first people who started to farm and started a village. Okay. So like I said, it is speaking of, Genesis is speaking of a beginning, but it's not the beginning. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the writer is not able to cover his tracks. He's not thinking in a 360 at all. And obviously there were more people around than just the account of the Garden of Eden and Adam and Eve and then the children. D-Train said, agreed. Girl, come on. You ain't sure about it yourself. We're having a discussion, but I'm telling you what I think. There are cavemen BC, I think. You, you said God wouldn't let that. What is God in your perspective? True, it was their beginning. Ria, Daniel, it was their beginning. I pray every day to God, Yahweh, Yahuwah, not any specific religion. All religions extremely hypocritical. Life and stories change a lot in 100 years. Imagine all the changes over thousands of years.
Yes,
We are fed many lies. Yes, I totally agree with that.
I say you're not supposed to take it literal. You're supposed to take what you can take from it.
Yeah. It's 10:39 and I'm watching you. Yep, it's 10:39 here too. I pray to my ancestors. Okay, Daniel. I thought they were cavemen before Jesus. I don't know when the cavemen existed. I don't know. I really don't. They say cavemen existed after the dinosaurs. So that would be a long time before those dinosaur bones are really old. And those bones predate the Genesis account, because you have to use science too. Asher says, I don't pray. Do you meditate, Asher? Because that is like praying too. I pray everything time I get off work. Agent 61. There were cavemen before Jesus, but that's another story. Well, yeah, I can agree with that. Before Christ. I think it's the dino era. Well, some people try to argue that the dinosaurs, they're not real, that they didn't exist, but we have the bones, so they did exist. They did exist. There are no accounts of, that I know of, dinosaurs in the religious writings. It just talks about man. Okay, you're Catholic. Actually, don't bump the table. So, yeah. So we're just having a discussion. Some of us believe the literal right, and some of us don't. Dragons are named over 10 times in the Bible.
Grandma, when you get down to live, can you please put the pizza in the oven, but don't turn on the oven?
Ashley,
I'm trying to save the pizza.
I don't need you to tell me what to do with the pizza. I don't have any religion, but I don't let religion bother me. Okay. If this earth is millions of years old, then that means things and people were here before the Bible and the people who wrote it. Gregory says, you're AME Zion. I've gone to some AME Zion churches. Wasn't the earth supposed to be 10,000 years old or something? We have dinosaur bones older than that. I think the earth is older than that. To me, I think it's much older than that. You know what I'm saying? Our religious books and religious writings and stuff, that stuff is not that old at all. So those people had a different type of system, you know what I mean? So we're just discussing some of this stuff. The term alien is used in the Bible. Unicorn is mentioned in the Bible. That book is crazy when you really read it. Well, what's wrong with the word alien? We're sort of like aliens. You know what I mean? Unicorn is mentioned in the Bible. What does it say about unicorns? I don't recall unicorns being mentioned in the Bible. But there are probably all kind of beings that have existed over time. No 4 billion years old. What do you mean the earth is 4 billion years old? Is that what you're trying to say? I wish aliens were real, but they're not real. We are aliens. Humans are aliens. We ourselves are aliens. Aren't unicorns just horses with horns? I don't know. Yeah, we ourselves. My son says that we are a virus to the earth. All right, I'm going to hit the bed. Okay, good night. We ourselves are aliens. The concept of time is wild. If we in 2024, does that mean people restarted and earth stayed and created? I don't know. We're more than earthlings. We actually come from the cosmos. We are made up of the same things that are outside of the earth, as well as what's here on the earth. We're both. We're both. We're not just earthly. Not at all. As it is above, so is it below, y'all. You know what I mean? We're both. I can trace the New Testament to Egypt. The Old Testament is harder except for the flood story. I believe if you want to know the truth, you have to go to the basement of the Vatican and read the Daniel. I don't think we have to do that. I think the truth is in us. Books that was stolen from the Library of Alexandria. I think we need to like check into our own selves instead of always looking for a book. Because men wrote books. Maybe women too. But men wrote books. They have accounts of what they think, what they believe, what they saw, what they've lived. We have a intelligence that is in our cells. This is a higher level of consciousness, though. You know, we've been just programmed over the years to always look for information in a book instead of looking within ourselves, going into the deepest rhythms and regions of our own soul. We can't do that unless we decide to unplug from everything and become one with nature. We can do that on our own level. We don't have to eat the whole pie. We can take one spoonful at a time. You know what I mean? So, but we can do that. Your son could be right. Look how we supposedly are so intelligent, but of all living things on earth, humans are the most destructive. Imagine how paradise like earth would be without people. What's up, Insidious Slaughter? It's been a while since I've seen you. Yeah, my son talks about that. He said we are literally a virus to the earth itself, the humans. And of course, all the things that we have done, like the pollution and all that stuff, plastic, as we have evolved over time. I feel like that we've done a lot of damage to this planet. And I feel like we need to turn away from it and redo it before the planet has to correct itself. That's what I think. Because the earth itself is a living thing. It's not just us. It's not just the trees and the rivers and the animals and all that. The earth itself is a living thing. It's alive, obviously. Looks way different than all the other planets, right? So we've got to start respecting that. And, you know, we just need to raise our consciousness. That's all. You just got so many hundreds of millions of people who are just so low vibrational, and they can only see what's right in front of their face. You know, they cannot see beyond. And that is the biggest problem. But the information, the knowledge, the vault of the spiritual realm is within us. It's within you. It's the cells in our body from our ancestors has information that's in it. We're not just decoding books. We're just decoding ourselves. We're decoding us, not just books. Because books are other people. Every time you pick up a book, you're fellowshipping or communing with a human. They wrote, they thought, therefore they wrote. I'm trying to get that into y'all's head so much. I really am. Because I just want you to understand that so you could put it in perspective. That every time you read and study, you are sitting down literally and you are observing the brain of another person. They still have those ancient books. They just told us they burned them. Wow. Some of these people believe snakes could actually talk, and snakes can't talk. Snakes cannot talk, okay? Sorry, I didn't say hello. I got wrapped up in your beauty and conversation. Oh, by the way, hello. What's up, Insidious? How you been? Yeah. The information is in us too. It's not just in the books. But I love books and I love information. I love you guys as you type. I do, because people, like, we share information. But yeah, there's so much. So back in the day, our grandparents and everything, they read their little scriptures and they were so, you know, content with those things. And, you know, they were building a life, buying a home, buying cars, you know, stuff like that. But we are different. 2024, we're different. I'm a little different than most people in my generation, though. My daughter says all the time, go back there and ask your mama. She said, I'm from the generation what? She said, I act like, what did she call y'all?
You act like an African.
Not an African. Ashley, shut your trap. She said, I act like, not Gen X, but the other one. But you were talking about a book at the beginning, but it's not just books. It's listening to people like you too. And I mean, no disrespect about that, but people on the internet are modern day books. Yes, I totally agree with you. Yeah, Daniel, I do. I agree with that. People sharing their ideas is one more from changing somebody's mind. I love it. Not the baby boomer, but who is the other one? Who is the biggest group of people right now? Gen Z. No, what's the other group? She's comparing me to the younger group. Is that your nephew? No, that was my granddaughter. Not the baby boomers. No. What's Monet? Monet. She's not listening to me. Gen X. I don't know why I feel like it's not Gen X, but maybe it is Gen X. Millennials. She said I'm just like a millennial. So even though I'm 53, she said, girl, you're more like the millennials. I said, what? She said, yeah. How did I change? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. I don't speak like people from my generation at all. But from the books, it was the gather around the campfire stories. Gen Alpha, you're a Gen X. So I'm 53, so I don't know what I am. But she said I act like a millennial though. You a Gen Z. I'm a Gen Z. Okay, yeah. But she says I act like a millennial. But anyway, I've studied religion for 30 years and it's a deep rabbit hole. Isn't it, Daniel? It is such a rabbit hole, y'all. So what did I do? You said, how did I change? I closed the book. Closed the book. There were so many. We had 2,000 books, including all of the different Bibles, all of the clergy Bibles. We had the Hebrew, the Greek, the Latin, all of the concordances, all of the Hebrew dictionaries. We had a heaping collection. I had such a hunger and thirst for that spiritual knowledge, and I did it for a long, long time. But one day, I just closed the books. Did you also stop watching the news? Yes. That's not our book. That's his book. Gen X. What you mean by that? His book. Whose book? I closed it though. Closed the books. It's really a rabbit hole. Seriously. And it's not, I'm not going to say it's bad. I'm not going to say I can't do that because we're all at different points in our life, you know. I'm not going to say it's bad, but I'm saying I closed the books. But I was in them for a long time. And it is a rabbit hole. Because the answers is not in the book. The answer is in you. You're a living spirit. Ashlyn, shh. What do y'all think about that? If you didn't have your literature, your spiritual literature, then what would you do? What do y'all think about that? We stay young by staying current with the changing times, not by staying stuck in a particular way of thinking or dressing, and staying in the know on technology. We should always advance, never settle. Yeah, that's me. That's me 1,000%. That is me. Daniel, you says book. There was a reason the slaves were spiritually connected, even though they couldn't read the book. What do you do when you can't access the books? Do y'all know? Tell me. Tell me what you would do. What you do. Tell me what you do without the books. Whatever book it is that you look into, what do you do? And tell me, why do you study your books? Who are you looking for? Or what are you looking for? Ashton, shh. Who are you looking for, or what are you looking for? Um, one of the things that I realized was without the book, without my traditions, without all of those things, what's left is me and the spirit within me. No book, you find it within yourselves. Yes. That's the ultimate goal. Being African Methodist, I was taught just the Bible. I think all of our spiritual or biblical literature is a. Ashlyn, go to the back. Go to. I don't. I'm a.
I'm looking for something.
All right. So yeah. So all of our literature is a starting place, I think, right? But I think the way that people stop evolving is they say, well, I got this thing works for me. It soothes my conscience. It makes me feel like I'm safe. And therefore, this works. This is good enough. This is what I need. And I think that's how people kind of nestle down in this ideology or this spiritual biblical literature, and they never go on to evolve in their thinking. That's what I think happens. But nowadays, you got people like me. And according like where I started from, like I should never be able to make it where I am now. This is my journey is a pure miracle. It really is. Cheryl, it's not about what we're talking about, but school starts on the 29th. What are you talking about? That was never our religion. It was beat into us. But it's hurting us as a book because we're treating a comic book as a history book. That's a mouthful. Now, I'll just say this. Trevor, before I read your comment, I'll say this about the comment that you just made. When it comes to the biblical literature, I think in some of the Quran and some of the Jewish Bible, when it comes to those three books, right? A lot of that literature it came out of Africa. That's where it came from. So when you say that it's not for us, I would say the book ended up in the hands of the colonizers, and from that point, they did some things to it. And those writings and those edits are not for us. That's what I think. What's up, Mason Chase? A blessed night to you, my dear friend. How are you doing? I'm doing good. I will get in touch I was a little busy. My Bible is my guideline. It gives me life eternal. Trevor, I want to say to you, books are just a gateway to open your mind to the possibilities of what God truly is. We all should have the opportunity for searching for Him, not being brainwashed by books. The soul is the gateway. Yes. Y'all are all saying, oh, child, y'all are all saying a mouthful. The comment before, though, about the book is not for us. The book has been, you have African writers, elders who wrote. And then we know the history of what happened to the book. But like Insidious Slaughter is saying, though, these writings are gateways into that deeper rhythm and region of your own soul, because God is in you. Some people even say God is you. So he's expressing himself or herself as you. That's the final destination. It's not the books. Good night, Asher. We changed a lot from our ancestors. They would lose their minds if they seen us now. Greg, I would say this. I think we have, and I value, love, and respect our ancestors, but we're living in our time. They've lived already. They ran their course. Now we got to run our course. You know? I also believe, Greg, that our ancestors and their knowledge is in our DNA. And they do see what's going on now. The book is not for us. The Book of the Dead was our book. Some of those writings, again, Daniel, is a part of that Old Testament. That's where they come from. That's where the writings come from. It comes from Africa. I am sorry. I made a mistake. It's for the Bible. It's for us. Okay, Agent, you're back. Okay, good night. Daniel said facts. What's up, Taz Angel? How you doing? Slowpoke says your oppressor knows your history better than you do. Okay, so Slowpoke and Daniel, both of you guys are speaking about what was done to the King James Bible by the colonizers, right? Because that's the history. That's what y'all are speaking on. But this is what I'll say. There were edits made. There's still a large portion of those writers that the ancestors wrote. Their imprint is still there. It's just the editors and the writers gave themselves power. They wrote themselves into power in the scriptings. That's what they did. Miss Cheryl, I respect you a lot because you think differently. People of the past were forceful. Yeah, my son said that they would unalive me if I was born some years back in. I don't know what year he said, but he said, Mama, they would certainly unalive you. I was like, why would they unalive me? He was like, Mama, because you just think. No, he said you would be in trouble. Trinaya said, exactly. The original is always better than the remake. Always, of course. Slowpoke says, I'll agree to that. Yeah, I think like I kind of move like and think like a millennial, even though I'm much older. A lot of people in my generation, they just cannot. And the ones that are above me, the ones that were my mother age, like 70, oh my God, they cannot. The pathways in their brain will not accept this information. It will not accept it. It will not. Like some of y'all grandparents, no, they wouldn't. You wouldn't have the same mindset. No. He's not saying that I would. He's saying that if I did, the mindset that I have now, if I had it back then, I would be in trouble. What's up, Nettie or Neat? How you pronounce it? From Australia. How you doing today? Uh-huh. Yeah, so Their pathways in their brain could not accept it. Listen, if you've been indoctrinated, which I've been indoctrinated too, but it's something about the way that my brain works, something about me, I've been able to deconstruct from it, from the program. The Bible has metaphors and symbolism. How and when did trees have knowledge of good and evil? Taking it literally is a mistake. Thank you, D-Train. I don't know, D-Train, and I don't want to insult anybody here. You know, if you insult a person, you lose a person. So you have to be careful. Even in speaking your truth or speaking from your perspective, you got to be careful what you say, because if you offend a person, you lose a person. But I'll just say this. I feel like intelligence has a lot to do with it. Tommy, you believe that they would? Did you know the cross was stolen from Ankh? Who is that? Without the book, the spirit will speak to you regardless. Yes, Mars, absolutely. The Egyptian cross. Ooh, I don't know anything about that. In order to learn, you must unlearn. WV. Hey, girl. Yes. So the deconstruction, that's what I was speaking on earlier. The deconstruction and the unlearning goes hand in hand, because that's just like growing up in a toxic family. You're in your mom and daddy's house, and the children, your siblings, and you've learned a lot of stuff that don't serve you. You have to unlearn those things. You have to deconstruct from that family structure in order for you to create this life that you want. It's the same thing sometimes with some of our ideologies. Slowpoke said, you unalived your old self. And I think I did a really, really good job. I'm great. Net. Okay, Net. Off work today and relaxing, going back tomorrow to save some more lives. Life of a surgeon. Oh my goodness. I am so honored to have you here. Net, the surgeon. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me know that. And also, this really big YouTuber came into my live today, Sean. What's his other part of his name? I went to my subscriptions and found him again, because I got to go over there and leave him some messages or whatever. I would love to have a conversation with him. And I had a fit, and he said, well, sure, I'm nobody. No, you're somebody. What do you mean? But anyway, so today has been a wonderful day for me in this stream. Net, thank you for letting me know that. Thank you, Town Outdoors. Thank you so much. But yeah, the deconstructing, the unlearning, and what's up, Mason Chase? I just saw what the original discussion was. Adam's sons married their sisters. Isn't that awful? What do you think about that, Mason Chase? Mars says, I need a surgeon. Give me that number. Sean Mendez. Mason Chase, I say that if that's what happened when Adam and Seth, because Cain had to, no, Adam was unalived. If that's what happened with Cain and Seth, it's immoral. And if God co-signed it and Adam and Eve co-signed it, then I got a problem with that. Because surely if he could separate the water from the land, he could have gave instructions on how not to have a relationship with siblings. Thank you, Elliot. The movie Dogma is one of the best religion movies made. I'll watch it tonight. Dogma. I mean, I don't like it, but the only other person was Eve, so. But I said something different. I presented something different, Mason Chase. You want to know what I said? You don't want to know what you don't want to know what I think, Mason Chase. So this is what I said. I said the Book of Eden is a beginning, but not the beginning, obviously. Because when Cain gets out and he goes over there, away from Adam and Eve and all of that, that's where he met his wife, and that's where he was introduced to a whole nother group of people, says your Bible. So if you look at it, you'll see that it says that, not just another, like his sister that he took with him over there. No, he went over there, and that's where he ran into those other people. There were other people over there. I work crazy hours, hardly available. I know that's right. Also, the movie called They Live revealed truth. Oh, wow. Let me put both of these movies in my phone. God was okay with the devil screwing over Job. So do he really care? Oh, boy. That's a controversial comment. Let me put these two movies in here. What was the other one? Dogma. I don't think so. I'll look at the passage though. Yeah, well, I'm telling you, it's true, Mason James. When I look at the other one, I can't, or I would. Okay. Yeah. Cain went over there. There was a whole nother group of people, and that's where he made his life there. I do remember that. That was one of those things that stuck out to me in those days as an indoctrinated Christian. I was like, oh, where did those people come from? He was okay with Lot letting the people grape his daughters and not the angels. So, I mean, really, again, Daniel, I mean, again, like over and over and over in that book, it's not a book of morality, though. Did y'all know that? It's not. Like I said, it's immoral that those boys marry their sisters. Again, if you have a God that can do all of what he did in 7 days, then he should have been able to make it so that they didn't have to marry their sisters. And to your point right here, Lot and his daughters and sons and all of that. Again, people say all the time, God does not change, right? That's the biggest argument. People use that excuse to not evolve. But I use it to say, well, if God doesn't change, then now y'all are saying he was not so moral in the Old Testament, but he changed the laws and got really moral in the New Testament. So God changes for that, but he doesn't change for what I need him to change for. So that's a problem. I remember being taught Cain brought his family with him. That's not what it said. That ain't what it said. You can go look it up, though. It's not what it said. It talked about them people being over there. If God can change, then he's not all powerful. Net says, Daniel Burdine, I applaud your courage to speak about stuff that may be deemed controversial. Me too. You got to have Mason Chase and the other people that are here, you got to ask the hard questions. Because, you know, we're all adults now. We're not children. Just like those two girls got their dad drunk and tried to get pregnant by him. That's immoral. D-chat. Yeah, that's immoral. I've always had a problem with that story too, because we're talking about, you know, this book being the standard for our living and morality. But then you find out that the main character is immoral. You said, I appreciate it. I've lost friends over this, but it's worth it. You've lost friends? I think I have too over the years. But I was willing though. I don't care. Yes, God did cure because God knows that Job will not sin against him. Trevor, like, that is the most terrible, that's one of the most terrible stories in the Bible. People glamorize the story, but it's awful. I've been through a lot recently, and I'm also questioning a lot of stuff. I wonder how much of what I believe was what I was told and not my own thinking. According to how the brain works, and you know, we've been talking about the pathways in the brain, a whole lot of what you've been taught is not your thinking. What if morality didn't come till later? Slowpoke, we can't say that. Because what we do is, I'm going to slip this right in here. God is the same today, yesterday, and forevermore. God is the same, right? He's the same one who says that you're not to lay with your brother's wife. And you're not to covet your neighbor's wife. But it's okay if the daughter sleeps with the father, or the brother has a child with the sister. Is God moral, or is he not? We are, tonight, what we're doing is discussing the writings. I've been telling y'all about this is how you do it, and taking a critical look or just an adult look at the writings, to be able to look at it from a mature brain and put God on the table as one of the characters in the book and see if his morality stands up. This is how you do it. We're supposed to have a problem with it. The purpose of immoral stories in the Bible is to show us how immoral we are as humans, not to promote the sin. No, what we're finding out is God in himself, Mason Chase, is the immoral one. The writer puts God in a position he's immoral because he's making the calls. It's not our morality that's on the table. It's God's morality. It's not us. Sounds crazy, but look up people raised by animals and can communicate with them. Mars, you don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me. Net, you laughing. Yeah. What do you mean, Mason Chase? Explain. I just explained it. Let me do it again. I'm gonna have to go get my charger because we about to charge about to go out. Let me explain, Mason Chase. We're gonna have to go on the other side of the room. Let's go on the other side of the room. And so we can finish this live. This is about to get good. Hold on for 1 second. I'm gonna turn the light off on this side of the room. And we're gonna go to the other side so we can finish this live. Let me say it again. All right. Because I have to put the charger in. Did she take? Okay, she didn't move. Hold on, y'all. Production is having an issue. And Mason Chase, I'm gonna try to explain it to you one more time. It's not our morality that's on the table. It's God's morality. It's not ours. It's not us. It's not us who, matter of fact, hold on, y'all. Because that's too bright. I'm sorry. I just don't want that light in my face like that. Let's turn it down a little bit. All right. I guess that's good. So, It's not us. It's not our morality that's on the table. It's God's. When we talk about the story of Job, and we talk about Lot and the daughters, and we talk about Noah, we talk about the flood. All of those people being unalive because God gets angry and has a temper tantrum. That was wrong. That was wrong for God to do. God tells us not to murder, but he unalives hundreds of thousands of people probably in those days or more. He tells us not to do things, but he does it. His morality is on the table, not ours. This is taking a deep, critical look into the literature. As an adult, because we're all grown, right? And we're putting it all on the table. And God is not exempt. He's part of the story. Ned said, this is interesting. Hey, it's me again. Remember me? Hello, Karomi. How you doing? Well, his name is Jealous, right? Do you remember me? I don't remember you, boo. I'm sorry. The reason we can't unalive is because we are just as human. And the other human, we are equals. God is above mankind, however. No, God must do and be who he tells us to be. God must lead by example. Mason Chase. Certainly we won't accuse God of saying, you do what I say and not as I do. God must be the first partaker. God can't ask us to not do things that he does. Okay, can't do that. You can't do it. What we're doing is we're taking a critical look into our God ideas. That's what we're doing. For some of y'all, it's gonna be the first time that you've ever done it. This is part of deconstruction. I tell people all the time, I feel like I love God as much as anybody else ever did, like ever. God is a huge part of my life. But I had to figure out what is God and what God is not. And this is how you do it. It's okay. I have a problem with being told to believe this book, but then the very people who tell me this pick and choose what they want to talk about. The ugly part seems to not be open for discussion. And that is because people don't like to fix what's not broken, but it is broken. That was part of my problem too. That was everybody wanted me for my obvious love for God and my talents. I possess many, but nobody wanted to have a real conversation. And yeah, it didn't work. How can you be above me when named as a horrible, human emotion? What do you mean? Why does God have to lead in a way a human would? God doesn't have to do anything. And neither do I. I don't have to either. I don't have to believe that God is okay with flooding the earth. I don't believe God did that at all. Do you see what I'm saying? So God doesn't have to do or be anything, Mason Chase, but neither do I. I don't have to believe those stories, and I don't. But the writer wrote it that way. I blame him for lying on God. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Mars. According to the gospel, is Adam and Eve, Cain, and Abel were twins and was supposed to marry their sisters who were also twins. God's name is jealous, and it says it in the 10 Commandments. God flooded the evil away almost. No, he didn't. The story, if you follow the Old Testament, there's a theme that's happening. God gives the commandments. He talks to the prophet, the king, the priest, the judges. He gives instructions. They fall away. God get mad. He punishes them, and it starts all over again from one book to the next. That's the pattern. It's very, very human-like to me. Doesn't sound like a God. It really sounds exactly like a man. And I think it is a man. Actually, he gave Moses 15 commandments. Daniel, you something else. I believe God was just in flooding the earth. A human's own breath is a gift, one that God doesn't have to give. We all breathe, just as part of the design. I don't believe that God is a malicious, vindictive, temperamental monster. I think the writer paints God that way for power and control. The 10 commandments was taken from the Book of the Dead. Yes, I do. I believe that, Mason Chase. Life is a gift. I love it. Although I was born and raised in a Christian family, I'm still searching and on a path of trying to understand. I may never get all the answers, but I'm trying to understand God my own way. Well, I think you're a lot further down the road than what you think. I love you, my girl. Hey, King, what's up? Jonathan sent a man to his because he impregnated homie's girl. Jonathan who? Jonathan sent a man to his because he impregnated homie's girl. Are you talking about the Bible story? Are you talking about Saul's son Jonathan? In life, God gave us a choice to choose how we want to live or how we do not want to live. He said to choose you this day whom you will serve. That's problematic for me too. You know what I'm saying? Going back to the beginning of the story, the tree of the knowledge of the both good and evil, or the tree of the knowledge, and then the tree of good, the good tree, and then the knowledge of both the good and the evil, right? That's us. That's humans. That's our duality. We're both. We can be in our higher self, which is the God, and then we could be in our lower self, which is the negative energy. Some people call it demons, devils, or whatever. But yeah, it's still us though. We have the capacity for both. So if you give your child a gift and they abuse it, won't you take it away? It's not about that, Mason Chase. it's not about God giving us something and punishing us and taking away. It's not about that. We learn lessons. We evolve and we learn and grow. We elevate our thinking and our consciousness. We're human. Some of us can pass the test the first time or pass the course. I don't like the test word. I'll say the course. Some of us pass the course, the first time. Others, it might take 5 times. For whatever reason. Listen, I talk all the time about our brain. Oh my God. We really need to get more into the brain and understand what it is. This thing that we live in, our body and our brain, we can be very limited by it. We got to know our construct. So where you can pass the test, Mason Chase, right away, it might take me 6 times, Mason. Nobody can judge. We need to be more patient and kind with ourselves, Mason. We don't need to be paranoid about God is going to strike us down and do bad things to us because we're not doing what we're supposed to do. Life is a gift from God. That's why I said the Book of the Dead is our book. When you change things to benefit you, then it's not our book anymore. You said God give you a choice, but yet you have a book of all your deeds past. See what I'm saying, man? And see, I didn't even know that he was going to say that, Mason, because I was into my little lecture that I was doing. But that's what I'm saying. God is making a list. He's checking it twice. He going to find out if you're naughty or nice. He's waiting for you. That great and dreadful day to give you what you deserve and to punish you for all of your bad deeds. Mason Chase, no. If we're going to get rid of anything, we need to get rid of that. And we need to understand that, listen, we are human. We have limitations. We have pathways in our brain. We have childhood trauma. We've learned a whole bunch of shit from people that we love. And honey, it takes a big, massive effort to reroute all that stuff and get it under control. In future, that don't sound like free will, right? My dad stepped away from the phone. Are you saying God didn't flood the earth? If so, who did? Slowpoke. There may have been a flood on the earth. I'm saying I don't believe that God did that because people were sinful. No, I don't believe that. I feel like you're speaking for me as well. Jeez, man, wow. I'm glad you're getting something out of it, Net. Do you think the world is getting further away from Christianity? I think we are evolving. I think Christianity and some of the other faiths have served us on those lower levels. I think we are growing and evolving in the consciousness of millions of people are raising us up. And I think we are changing. And I think we're supposed to. You don't understand a word he's saying, by the way? Wow. If your son went to the army for 2 years and you come home and your wife say it's okay, it's God's baby, would you believe it? Mason Chase said no, and Joseph didn't at first either. Net is saying, I think people are walking away from religion and beginning to experience God through their own connection with him. Big time. Big time. It's common sense, but if common sense was common, everyone would have it, Daniel says. Absolutely, sister. We are evolving. Yes, we are. I'll send for yes, we are getting away from Christianity. We care more about pronouns than what's right. Again, Slowpoke, we just gave examples of the writer is quoting God and saying this is what God has said, but I'm saying that that's not right. The Bible is not a moral compass. There's lots of immorality in it. It's not just. That's what I'm telling you. If God did it because of man disobedience, and disobedient is sin and has to punish sin, so that's why he give us a free choice to choose either good or evil, life or death, choose God or the devil. We are both Trevor. I want y'all to understand this. You know how you point your finger and you say, that person, that's the devil. No, you. No, you. You are good and evil. Give me 24 hours. Let me observe you for one day. Let me watch you and listen to you, and you unaware that I'm watching. 24 hours. And I'll show you a devil. Many times over. Guarantee it. The biggest thing is that we got to understand that we both possess the capacity to be both good and evil at the same time. I'm telling you. But who is to determine what is right? What about a child who would never know about Christianity? Are they condemned because of their geographical location? Some people think so. Some people will tell you absolutely yes. And if they would answer it that way, they are immoral and not just and lacking empathy. Real people don't care about pronouns. If you look like a guy, I'm saying, sir, that's just how it is. We don't need religion. We need to start loving one another. Thank you, Daniel. I couldn't have said it better myself. What's the question? If we all were if we all were at church in a Bible study, we could not have this conversation. Imagine you following me around for a day to prove to me I'm Mason Chase, give me as with me. You can follow me for 24 hours. And you'll say, Miss Cheryl, wait a minute. Do you believe in God because of something that happened, or because since you were a kid, I was beating to you head? It was beaten into our head that he existed. I tapped into I wasn't raised in church, right? My mother was, but I wasn't. So I give an account of the day that, how should I say it? How I would have said it back then. The day that I became aware, my consciousness I was aware of that space and that God thing. So it was on a summer day. I was sitting outside on the porch, still summer day, really, really hot, under a big tree that was in front of our house. It was really, really close to the house. Sort of like my tree here in front of my house. And I was just sitting on the porch. I think I was 9 years old. And I had a bad habit of biting my toenails. Isn't that gross? But that's what I was doing. So I had a thought, and it was clear as day. It was not my voice. It wasn't my voice. It was very clear. It's like, Cheryl, where did your mother come from? And then I was like, where her mother? But I didn't say it out loud. Her mother. Well, where did her mother come from? Her mother. Well, then where did she come from? Her mother. So forth and so on. Her mother. Her mother. Her mother. Until currently I'm sitting on the porch in the summertime. Sky is blue. Sun is beaming. Summer. It's quiet outside still. All of a sudden, everything was dark. I was in a dark place. Massive place. I'm talking about where I felt like minute. Really, really small. But what I sensed was the space was filled with, like, the place was really dark, but it felt spongy. Like it was a big place, but it was full. I don't know, it's just kind of weird. And it just happened all of a sudden, and I shook my head. I literally shook myself. And then when I did that, you know, of course I'm on the porch, and the sun and the tree and all of that bite my toenails. And I was like, oh, I'll never do that again. I'll never let my mind go that far. Because then I ended up in that place, the place of the unknown. But it wasn't a bad thing, though. It was just my awareness, my consciousness that there was something beyond everything that I knew at that point. Daniel, I was always taught there was a God. I stopped believing it for some time. Really, Mason? And then I concluded for myself that he exists. Mason Chase, there is so much more. There's so much beyond what we've heard. And I trust it. I trust it. I had the same experience the first time was under anesthesia. Really? Are you serious? I was like, what in the, you know what I'm saying? Oh, God. I just shook my head. It was a lot. Being a child, I was very young. 9 years old. Yeah. Yeah. So when I made it over to the church world, I was 18. And that's when I started hearing the Bible stories at 18. But anyway, y'all, I enjoyed y'all tonight. Kisses and hugs. I'll see y'all tomorrow night. I love these talks before bed. I believe people should believe in something higher than themselves, but I can't understand a book of contradictions. Well, the reason, Daniel, let me see if I can help you out. And let's see, it was nice talking to you. Thank you, Daniel. I read Christopher Hitchens' book and listen to his debates. I felt like he raised a lot of questions that I had. Really? Okay, Net, I'll check that out. Christopher Hitchens. Let me give myself a mental note. Christopher Hitchens. Okay. Let me tell you about this, Daniel. So, going to look into him. Okay. The thing is, let's not shun any religious writings. None of them. All of them, obviously, are supposed to be here because they're here. It's more, and I tell people here on my platform, it is more about what you think about what the writer said. I think that that's going to interest God. What does Net think about what the writer says about me? Daniel, what do you think about my interaction with Job? Do you think I handled Job that way? Do you think I think that way? Or do you think I've said that? We see what the writer says, but do you think that about me? I think that's what God is saying. I just want to say that a baby or a child that is born in a sentence, and if that child was unalived, it was quicker and to heaven to be with God than that any one of us. Net says, you'll love him. He passed away a few years ago. Mind-blowing stuff. I don't believe everyone have the right to believe in anything they wish. I don't. I believe everyone has the right to believe in anything they wish, as long as it makes you be a better person. Don't use it as a way of control. Well, that's what they do. That's what they do. But anyway, y'all, I love y'all to pieces, kisses and hugs, and I'll see y'all tomorrow night, okay? Bye, guys.